Welcome to Audio Story. In the world of today, the physical format, whether it's video or audio, is disappearing, whether it's a CD or DVD. These days it's easy access on the web to download a film or an album in audio or a single track. There was once upon a time a cassette recorder. If you was in the UK or other countries, you would have taped top 40, like in the UK. In the UK, it was on a Sunday afternoon on FM, and a lot of people were listening. And it would have taped off the radio with a device which you had, whether it's a mono cassette recorder or something a bit more fancy, or a stereo boombox known at that time. The cassette was a very versatile machine. It was Walkmans, and obviously there was the record players as well, which was the first audio format. Technology hasn't changed, but it has become digital. It's still around, but today lacks the real good quality hardware to listen to these new records for 180 grams. Instead, these cheap record players, Crosley, God knows what, with ceramic cartridges, without using a real decent rig. Then you have the inventors of the cassette Phillips. You can record on the CD. There were CD recorders around. Went into the early 21st century. Strangely enough, you couldn't use a blank CD disc, which is designated for computer CD data, to record on the CD recorder, because obviously they had some technical block on it, and like this touches you to buy the CD recording audio discs to use it. Whatever mark it is, doesn't matter, it's the same standard. All hi-fi marks, whatever standard is agreed on, that would be the standard for that type of format. But strangely enough, you could, in your computer, masterize with your CD writer or DVD writer a disc. It would have been playable on any CD machine in the end. But there are some stereos which came out which had a CD recorder, which resolved that problem of accepting CD data discs which you can record on, like if it was like a blank tape. That happens to be a model which the tech produced you could say around about 20 odd years ago it came out. It was pretty expensive, a little bit dinky, but you could have recorded on it. The same thing is with DVDs. If you would have had a pre-recorded DVD, like a film, and you would had those combi machines with VHS, you couldn't record onto VHS because there was a thing which is called Macrovision, which is a protected system, basically an anti-copying thing. Obviously, with the advent of what you would call it, specialized software for CD ripping, that came obsolete. You know, done on the computer instead of using the actual convert unit itself. and there were mini discs. That had a bit of an issue if you was recording. I think from a digital source, you had 74 minutes loop to record, and you can only make certain recordings. I think it was 5 recordings of that original source and stuff like that. And that went out because MP3 came along. The iPods, and there was various MP3 players on the market, cheap or a lot more sophisticated. You could just download from your computer, from the internet, and upload on your so-called was it MP3 player. That has disappeared because it has been replaced by the mobile phone, smartphone, which does practically everything these days. Returning back to records, they are still produced. There was a little bit of comeback with tapes, but when it comes to manufacturers making really decent rigs and other blank tapes, the problem is Dolby doesn't license out anymore their Dolby systems, chips and stuff like that. It's all non-Dolby. Regarding new records, it's a 180 gram format. If you would have bought records from the Eastern Bloc countries, they would have had that dimension, thickness you should say, but they had still that traditional record pressing technology still then. It was a good quality, but if you had a good record player, it would last a lot more longer. Despite in Western countries, records tend to be more thinner. Obviously, you would have played on a crappy record player, type of a Amstrad or Crossley cheap turntables, you would have scratched it and you would have ruined it. You would have had a real decent record player to play those things on. They probably would have worn out a lot more faster than the ones these days. So, all despite the manufacturers of the majors of thingy bobs, to avoid people having pirate copies, whether it's format audio or video, the web. Just have a look around and you can download films or audio. There's even dedicated Telegram channels for movies, television series in various languages. But you can check it out if you want to. So is there any question at the time? The physical format disappeared, like CD, DVD. The only physical format you'll be able to have is backup hard disks, these pen drivers, or certain gigas, a space to store on.